Now it's time for And the Winner is Motorsports Show, a production of the ETV Live Auto Sports Entertainment Network. Get ready for 2 fun-filled hours of racing dialogue, race results, commentary for drivers, promoters, sponsors, media dignitaries, and much, much more. And now, the racing devil, Mike Neff, and the ringmaster of motorsports, Wesley Outland. This is And the Winner is Motorsports Show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the, Monday, October 8th edition of And the Winner is Motorsports Show, a broadcast of the ETV Live Online Auto Sports Entertainment Network. I am Wesley Outland, the ringmaster of motorsports. Joining me, as always, is the racing devil in from the volunteer state, or the what do they call it, the Music City of Nashville, Mike Neff.
Amen, brother, amen. Well, technically, I'm not there anymore, but I am back from there.
Well, you were at Nashville.
I was there.
Yes, and as always, we got to come up with a nickname for this guy.
And I'm not going to say anything about goats this week.
No, let's be nice, because
I promised I was not going to do that this week.
We pissed off Justin last week very bad.
He got all upset. I don't want him being all upset.
I like the racing cowboy. What do you think of that one?
It's just really not working for me, man. I get this vision of Glenn Campbell when I hear that.
Not Rhinestone Cowboy, racing cowboy.
Yeah, but it's my point. It's not working for me.
Wow. Justin Rose now from up in Michigan. How's it going, buddy?
I'm doing well. How about the Master of Mayhem? That's the one that keeps coming back to me from a few of my friends and whatnot. They like to call me the Master of Mayhem because whenever I get on the virtual racetracks, all the hell seems to break loose right around me. So
You're a Jamie McMurray when you're on the virtual racetrack? Is that what you're saying?
No, I was just running an iRacing race at Talladega here before airtime here, and ran a green, no caution race, caution free. Come up to the last lap, and all hell breaks loose, and I ended up going around and losing a good chunk of safety rating. So I mean, I guess the Master of Mayhem does certainly fit because I seem to be caught up in everybody else's stuff.
Did Tony Stewart try and block you or something?
No, not Tony Stewart. I did see there was one Pro World Championship driver in the race, Richard Doucette. He got in some trouble, and I think he was the one trying to force the issue 3 wide in that deal.
Outstanding.
But yeah, I mean, I'm doing well, guys. I mean, I wish I could have been with you, Wesley, down at Beckley Motorsports Park, but my job certainly kind of ruined the weekend for me. They had me work just about all weekend.
Absolutely, definitely. And awesome racing everywhere around. It was an awesome race weekend this weekend. 186 entrants with drivers from 10 different states across the country. The biggest race ever in Beckley, West Virginia. And all in all, it just turned out to be a super, super awesome program. Really was. It was great.
Super awesome.
Yes. How'd things go in Nashville?
It turned out okay. Mother Nature won out for the most part, although they did legally get the show in, but it was on the verge of a major catastrophe. They ran, they told you it was going to be 400 green flag laps.
Yeah.
They ran and got to lap 195 and it started raining. They ran for 40 minutes under caution to keep from losing the track, and I applaud them. It was a great move. They held on to the track. And so they made a decision to put out the green and caution at the same time to be able to make it to halfway so it'd be a legal race.
Are you serious?
I was about to have an aneurysm. I was literally losing my mind. And I got in the infield shooting. I'm not even up in the press box. Apparently in the press box, people went bananas. But fortunately, after they actually ran 10 laps, I think, 7 to 10 laps under the green-yellow. They then went back to caution, got them regrouped. The rain had stopped. The track was dry enough. They went back and they ran all the way to lap 220 before it started raining again, and they ended up calling it after that. But oh my God, it was gonna be ugly if they had actually run 5 or 7, whatever laps they ran under the green and yellow to make it to the halfway point so that they had a legal race, I just might have killed somebody.
Wow.
It was, yeah, dude, it was, I'm not kidding. People in the press box went bananas. And it was exciting anyway because, and I don't know how the whole genesis of it happened, but I'm trying to be part of the Twitter universe, and I was sending out live updates, and Jason Sticks Buckley, friend of us all, who does a lot of Legends car coverage, sent a message on Twitter to the folks at Speed 51 asking why they weren't sending out live updates. And they basically said they weren't allowed to, or they didn't have an agreement, or whatever the case was. And so he asked why I was able to do it. And Bob Dillner responded with something along the lines of, we have been told we are not allowed to, or something like that. So I saw Elgin in the infield a little bit later, and he showed me on the pass front page where it said, and I think I've still got it up here, rebroadcasting using any other pictures, descriptions, or accounts of past events without express written consent of Past Racing Incorporated is strictly prohibited. And I didn't think anything of that. I'm not rebroadcasting anything. I'm handing out information. So it didn't bother me. But apparently there was a guy in the press box, and I'm not totally sure what his role was. He does something for PASS, but I don't know what. But he sent out a message to everyone in the press box to say no one was allowed to send out live updates over Twitter. Well, the Twitter universe erupted. And there was people, i.e. Bob Pockris, Jeff Gluck, a couple other names out there, that are like, that is total BS. They can't do that, this, that, and the other thing. I was down, like I said, I was in the infield shooting pictures and tweeting, so I didn't get, I don't read Twitter while I'm tweeting, so I didn't get that. I'm just sending them off my phone. But I did get a direct message from a friend of mine that says, you're the only guy that's sending out updates because they told him not to. And I was like, okay. At one point during the race, Tom Mayberry came over and was sitting on his golf cart next to me, and I was sending out messages during the race, and he never said a word to me, so I never worried about it. Nobody in the press box. Matt Weaver was sending out stuff. I believe Patrick Reynolds, Matt Taliaferro, I know, was sending out some stuff. Nobody ever came to them and told them to stop, and it was pretty obvious, who we were. So I don't know how that whole thing evolved or whatever really became of it. I guess I'll find out when I try to get credentials again if I get denied. But it was just kind of a weird vibe from that end of things. But fortunately, the racing itself was fantastic. I mean, if you're doing 400 caution laps don't count. They got to be green. Different guys got on different pit agendas. Cars were coming. Cars were going. We had different leaders. There were a handful of guys who were up front the whole time that fortunately were up there at the end. And so it wasn't like Ross Kenseth ended up winning, by the way, for those who didn't know. But, I mean, he was running up front most of the race, except for the one time he came in when a bunch of other guys didn't. And so he had to work his way back up from the back. But he was running up front. Bubba Pollard worked his way to the front. Willie Allen was up front. DJ Shaw ran top 5, top 7 all night. So it wasn't like somebody stayed out during the rain and ended up stealing the win. The guys that ran up front that ended up in the top 5 were guys that ran top 5 most of the night. So that was cool.
And I'm just gonna let you guys know that I'm gonna let Justin and I'm gonna let excuse me. I'm going to let Justin and Mike take this a lot longer than, tonight's show. I'm going to cut in and talk here or there and whatnot, but, guys, I'm going to tell you, it was the most extraordinary, outstanding racing weekend ever for Fast Track and for Beckley Motorsports Park, but my voice is shot. Maybe I condensed a little bit too much, Mike Neff.
You were projecting a little too much, I'm betting.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude! But I'm gonna tell you what, the experience of doing the whole Fox TV stuff and everything, it's different.
It's cool. I wish I could have gone. I mean, if you'd known a little bit earlier, I might have been able to pull it off, but I was at the All-American.
I guess that just means that we can all hang out at the Chili Bowl and see what develops from there.
There you go. We'll have to make it happen from out there. But I can tell you, the Nashville Fairgrounds, I was very pleasantly surprised. You hear about a place that's battling with the city to stay in existence, and people that had it weren't paying rent, so somebody else got it now, and you go in with a preconceived idea of what it's going to look like. And having been in North Wilkesboro when they were trying to revive that, I kind of had that mental image in my head that you were going to see a place, that had been worked on, and they had done some stuff to try to spruce it up, but it was probably still lacking in some areas. Not at all. The facilities, the whole place. I mean, the infield is really nice. The racing surface is great. The press box and press area is all up to date, and they had wireless internet access, multiple options for that. It was very strong and ran well all night. There wasn't any issues of getting dropped or anything like that. I was very pleasantly surprised. It is a very cool facility. The racing surface itself reminds me a lot of North Wilkesboro. The only difference is you're not going uphill and downhill. There's a little more banking in the corners at Nashville than there is at Wilkesboro, but all in all, they're both, depending on which site you read, they're both 5/8 mile ovals, and they're really cool places. The racing was really nice. It can definitely run 2 grooves there, and it gave people options. Not to mention, not only the All-American 400, but in the pro race beforehand, Willie Allen and Mark Day came to the start-finish line to take the checkered flag. Willie Allen was on the outside. Day was on the inside. Allen wasn't lifting. Day says he didn't realize he was out there. I don't know that I totally buy that. Allen bounced it off the wall, which bounced him into Day. Day turned sideways, nosed into the wall, and Allen T-boned him from about 100 yards before the start-finish line all the way into turn 1. Smoke flying, parts peeling off. Day's car was destroyed, but he was the first one across the line, so he got the win. It was a fantastic finish to that race, too.
I mean, what more could you really ask for, Mike? I mean, guys giving it everything they got, and then, last corner, last lap, T-boning, wrecking, whatever. I mean,
oh yeah,
a lot of fans want to see that. I mean, not even just the wrecking or anything like that, but they just want to see one hell of a race. And I guarantee you, Nashville always puts on, one big event every year, and I'm glad to see that it's in good hands.
But
it was cool. I'm hoping they're going to hang on to it.
Wait a second, but now this is not Nashville's fault. This is Pass's fault of throwing a caution and a green flag. And I understand the efforts of trying to get the race in. I understand that, but wow.
I completely agree.
Seemed like there was no way of getting the race in, Mike.
They were worried that they weren't going to, because there was another rain cell coming, and I think they really thought that rain cell was going to get there and rain it out, and they were going to be 5 laps short and have to run the next day. And the Tennessee Titans were in town playing on Sunday. There was something else going on Sunday in town as well. I think Vanderbilt had something going on, maybe, that they were really worried that there was going to be nobody show up, and they really wanted to reward the fans that had been there all day to see the thing, I think. But yeah, it could have been, if they hadn't run any green flag laps after that, it left a bad taste in everybody's mouth. But fortunately, they did get to run another 15 laps or so green after they did that green-yellow thing, and so they would have made it to halfway anyway. So it ended up being a moot point. But yeah, it was on the verge of being a fiasco.
Absolutely. Man. Justin, any racing up in the Northeast? I know it's kind of starting to calm down, really, for the year.
About some Oktoberfest, brother.
I was just going to say, any racing, man, it's Super Dirt Week up in the Northeast, and Brett Hearn actually took...
I'm talking about in friggin' New York. I'm talking about where you live.
You said Northeast.
Yeah, you said Northeast.
That's New York.
All right. Well, UMP had their big bash, the UMP Fall Nationals down at Eldora.
Oh, yeah.
One of our guests coming on later in the show tonight, Nick Hoffman, he's from Mooresville, North Carolina, does a lot of sim racing with the crowd that I hang out with on Sunday nights here on the ETV Live Network. Nick Hoffman, really stand-up dude. He actually won the modified portion of the UMP Fall Nationals, and I didn't get any updates as of yet, but I'm checking on the UMP late model side right now.
Right. Well, I'm getting ready to connect.
The UMP late models, it was Jason Feger that won it. I know that.
Well, then there you have it. Jason Feger certainly getting it done. He was actually on the pole, won his heat race, and actually I think took quick time as well. I mean, he just absolutely laid the stomping down from everything I heard last night.
Yeah, same thing that Hoffman did. Hoffman was quick time, won his heat race, and won the feature. And a cool thing about that is a side story that I'm sure we'll get to when it comes on, too. But he has started his own chassis company.
Yes.
And 2 weeks ago, the chassis was in pieces. I mean, it wasn't even welded together.
And friggin' wins, first time out.
In 2 weeks' time, they welded that thing together, went to Millbridge Speedway and tested it, hung a body on the thing, go up to Eldora, and not just won, but stomped them. And it's an amazing feat to go from a bunch of tubing laying around to winning one of the biggest UMP modified races of the year. And that's the fun thing is he's like 2 for 2 in big races. He won the
Gator Nationals.
Volusia Gator Nationals in February, and now he tops off the year winning at Eldora. It's a heck of a year for him.
Yeah, I mean, really. I mean, the one big name that I was hoping to see in UMP points that was not any Eldora results that I've seen was Jacob Pohl, who won the Michigan Dirt Cup. He actually finishes, I think, 4th or 5th in the national points, and he's got Eldora figured out from that standpoint, but as far as I understand, they blew the motor, so I don't think he had any bullet left in the tank for Nick Hoffman, but got to give credit to Nick. I mean, he just, like you said, Mike, he just went down there, tail, in a new chassis. I mean, that's pretty interesting. Elite chassis, just starting out, but what a way to sell chassis. You go and win the biggest fall race up here in the Midwest.
Very true. Yeah, he said he had several people came by and got business cards from him. He had some messages on Facebook asking him about chassis. So, yeah, it's a heck of a way to kickstart your new chassis program. If you're going to try and
guest on the show, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, want to let everybody know that this is And the Winner Is Motorsports Show. I'm Wesley Outland, Mike Neff, Justin Rose now. Executive producer and producer running the boards is John Wessling. We call him Fast Track or Magic Fingers. Our first guest we're going to have on, we've tried to have him on for the last 2 weeks. We finally got him lined up from ABC Sports and ESPN. Television, the IndyCar series, Jack Arute. He also promotes with his brother the Stafford Motor Speedway in Connecticut. Super great guy, and he was in the hospital with kidney stones like I was last week. I'm glad he's better. I'm definitely glad he's better and glad to finally have him on the program. Jack Arute, it's Wesley Outland, and the winner is. How are you, sir?
I'm great. How are you?
It's truly an honor and a privilege to talk to you. First off, before we even go any further talking about the IZOD IndyCar series or racing for that matter, definitely lost a true great broadcaster and a good friend of yours. You worked with many races in the IndyCars, Jack, of course, Chris Economaki.
You know, I mean, Chris was acknowledged as the pioneer and the first voice for motorsports, whether it was in the United States, whether it was IndyCar, Formula One, Daytona. I mean, long before any of this was popular. You know, everybody forgets Chris Economaki came from the 30s and shepherded all of the forms of American motorsports to the level that they are today. And you know, when you look at the family tree that Chris left in terms of people that who he touched in his long life.
Right.
I mean, you can't turn anywhere and not see where he's had an impact on.
Definitely, definitely. Mike Neff is on the program as well as Justin Rose now. Mike, what's your first question for Mr. Jack Arute?
I'm just curious, Jack. I've been following you forever, and again, I echo Wesley's sentiments that it's a great honor to get the chance to talk to you. I'm kind of curious about some of the things that you have pioneered in broadcasting, and specifically, were you the first person to wear a fire suit on pit road?
No, actually, the first guy. It goes back to. Well, I should say, in IndyCar, it was always required by pit people, because if you remember, there was a spate of fires in the 80s.
Right, and that's what I thought it came from, was when Mears had his fire. I thought the next year was when they started requiring it.
Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't say I pioneered it. It was just I happened to be working during that period. But I will say this: introduction of fire suits to NASCAR. Give credit to Jerry Punch. It was an ABC telecast in Atlanta where there was a pit fire. At that time, they, most outside of the Indy 500 and the USAC mandate back in those days for Indy cars, pit people and TV people didn't have to wear them. Well, there was this terrible fire, and from that day forward, and it was Jerry Punch that was in the pits, and luckily he didn't get burned. And after that day, NASCAR, for many, many years, you saw, and even with the ESPN telecast, they still utilize fire suits. Although fire containment has become such a non-starter these days because of the so many advances that they've made in these fueling rigs.
Absolutely. Jack Arute on the program. Now, Jack, if I understand, you done ESPN, ABC. I know you done IndyCar. You've done stuff for NASCAR. But I understand you're enjoying the retired life now. But, of course, you run a racetrack. Talk about that, Stafford Motor Speedway.
Well, my dad started Stafford Speedway, purchased it back in the early 70s, and he ran it until his death. And upon his death, my brother Mark has been there for years. I mean, Mark's been there for more than 2 decades now. We took over the racetrack, and Mark takes care of the day-to-day activities there. And I like to say that, I just show up to create hate and discontent, but in reality, it's a case where we're very, very fortunate. Through thick and thin, Stafford has prospered, and part of the reason is because of the basic precepts that my father believed in, and that was that, you have to take care of your shelf product. And he always perceived your shelf product as much as drivers were shelf product. It was the guys that labored over the cars Monday through Thursday, and then brought them to the racetrack on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday.
Right.
And those were the car owners. And he sought to create an environment that many people have replicated now, whether it was the advancement of spec tires and spec engines, or simply just creating a working environment. I mean, we were probably one of the first racetracks on the East Coast to actually have a paved pit area. And it was a pet peeve of my dad's when he and the Garuti brothers owned race cars. He said, look at us. We're the ones putting the show on, and they got us down here in dirt, engine oil. So, he always thought about, and to this day, I think that's one of the basic precepts that Stafford lives by, and why Stafford continues to have outstanding fields of race cars in tough economic climate. And, part of it is that commitment to looking not to the next great thing, but looking at trying to cater to the competitors, make it friendly, make it where if they have to choose between 2 racetracks because maybe money is tight, they're going to choose the place where they feel like they're a part of it. And I think that's the legacy that my dad left to us, and that my brother Mark and I have tried to live up to.
Right, definitely. Justin Rose, now, what do you got for Jack Arute?
Jack, this is Justin. I just wanted to ask you a quick question because you most recently worked in IndyCar. As far as that goes, what were your thoughts on the championship, and do you see the sport actually gaining traction viewer-wise compared to NASCAR and its declining ratings?
Justin, it's such a difficult situation. Look, my heart always was first and foremost with the Indianapolis 500. And, I watched many a team and many an Indy 500 and watched the evolution of IndyCar racing. And it's had its share of challenges. I don't see in the near future IndyCar racing as we know it on television being able to impact the popularity of NASCAR. And it hurts for me to say this, but part of the reason is because IndyCar television, most of the people that are trying to do it want to try and replicate the NASCAR model, and that just won't work. Whether it's a flow of information from pit road, where you've got a 13-second pit stop versus a 7-second pit stop, or analysis by former drivers. Forgive me, but most of the people outside of maybe Tommy Kendall, they talk over the heads of all but just a few handful of what I call diehard core audience of open wheel racing. How do you attract new people? The technological advances, all of that. I learned a long time ago, and I was fortunate. When I started in television at ABC, it was with people like Keith Jackson and Jim McKay and Jack Whitaker. And what made them great is storytelling. They were storytellers. When was the last time you heard really a fascinating or a story about an IndyCar driver? The stories exist. The racing is good. But the people, the powers that be that are determining and charting the course of the IndyCar television audiences, they don't care about that. They're doing television for themselves and a small audience of diehard fans that want to protect the purity of the sport with no nod to the entertainment value that all forms of sport are supposed to provide. And it's very, very frustrating to people like me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Again, Jack Arute on the program from ABC Sports and ESPN, and of course. So are you saying though, Jack, that pretty much IndyCar has its placement of fan viewers, and then NASCAR is a totally different. I mean, bottom line, let's brass tacks. And I know we've talked about the economy and how NASCAR is struggling, and it's not like it used to be. And I know that things are about change. I do. Everybody changes in life. You change in life. I change in life. We're going to get older. We're going to get, things change in your life cycle through, day to day or month to month or however. Racing is in the same vicinity. I was talking with somebody at Beckley, West Virginia, matter of fact, this weekend, and they're like, there's just too many young people that are in the sport. And I mean, I thought it was the old out with the old, in with the new. I mean, the racing has just become more, I mean, I don't know, in the NASCAR side of things, Jack, it's just become more commercialized, in my opinion. Well,
but I'm going to respectfully disagree with you on this level.
Okay.
Right? NASCAR has successfully produced a model that provides entertainment. Now, what we saw yesterday at Talladega, Alabama, was that racing in its purest sense? Absolutely not. Was it a direct result of restrictor plate racing and pack racing and what NASCAR engineered their rules to do? Absolutely. But take a look at the follow-up today. And I'm not talking about in ESPN. I'm not talking about on the sports shows. I'm talking about this morning when you turn down the mainstream news programs. Coming up next, big 30-car accident in Talladega, Alabama.
Right.
Now, somebody was watching this morning. Maybe wanted to get the latest on the upcoming vice presidential debate, and he saw cars flying everywhere and cars upside down. And so when NASCAR is on that viewer guide on your cable this weekend, he's going to look and say, "Wow, that was a god awful crash. I'm going to go in and sample the product." And
yeah, exactly.
No matter what's happening with seats in the stand, NASCAR is equal in my mind to the NFL in terms of understanding that you have I call it the law of rotating thirds.
Right.
You have your third of your audience that will always be there if you are running shopping carts. Then you have a third of your
right.
audience. Then you have a third of your audience that comes in, samples the product, stays for a couple of years, and then moves on. And it may be yak screwing in Tibet.
Right.
It may be tiddlywink. It may be motocross. It may be world endurance. Something else gets their attention. And then you have the third that they're just being introduced to the sport because they kind of stumbled across it. So the key is to keep all those thirds very fluid, and keep building each segment of that audience. NASCAR does it better than anybody in the world. Formula One is labored. They finally have come up with, I think, a very, very effective package that has provided passing. They spend a lot of time now talking about strategy. You see the excitement building to run, for the first U.S. Grand Prix in Austin, Texas, coming up in a couple of months.
Right.
IndyCar racing, on the other hand, is sat on its hands. IndyCar racing does nothing to attract new people other than saying, wow, aren't these cars exciting? Wow, aren't these cars really slick looking? Oh, wow, aren't these cars, do you realize that they've got fuel injection and they've got, and all you hear is engineers, engineers, engineers. All that a driver in IndyCar racing has to be today is braver than Dick Tracy. He doesn't have to know how to communicate to his crew, because when he talks on the radio, the engineer is the one telling him, pardon me, but can you turn in a little later into the corner? Because the telemetry is telling us, well, you know what, Mr. Engineer, why don't you get your skinny little butt in this race car? Wow. Take away all that telemetry like NASCAR does. Now, they allow the telemetry during testing. Take away all that telemetry. And you know what you're going to end up having? You're going to end up having drivers that, A, continue to be braver than Dick Tracy, B, have to learn how to communicate, and C, have to be able to say to the crew on pit road what the car is doing, and then they have to learn how to make the adjustments on the fly. That has been absent from IndyCar racing for almost 3 decades now, and it's what's killing the sport.
Do you think that's why the car counts are so low? I remember at one point earlier in the year, they didn't know if they were going to start 33 for the Indy 500.
Well, the car counts are low because that's systemic of not only the economic crisis, but when you go out and you're courting a sponsor, and you say to Acme Radiator Company, hey, we want you to sponsor an IndyCar. Well, how much is it going to cost me? Right. Well, we can get you in for X millions of dollars. Well, what am I going to get? Well, we're going to run before audiences, of 40 or 50,000 and 300,000. Company can say, no, what am I going to get? Well, we've got TV coverage. And, well, what's that? Well, what's the TV rating? Is this big on TV? No, we get about 275 to 300,000 fans watching. Are you kidding me?
Wow.
350,000 fans watching on TV? You know what? World Yak Screwing in Tibet draws better than that. And you can't sit on your hands and sit there and say all is right in the world of IndyCar racing, and you may have to make some changes.
Oh,
Look
wow.
at the fight over double foul restarts. All right, look at the fight over double foul restarts.
Right.
Look at the fight over utilizing the lucky dog. Oh, that would determine, that would change the outcome of the race. Well, you know what? Stick to your guns that way, and pretty soon you'll be going the way of the Edsel.
Do you think it's better for IndyCar, Jack, that Brian Barnhart's finally out of the picture, especially after the fiasco he did at New Hampshire?
Absolutely not. The inmates are running the asylum.
Really?
Right? It's got nothing to do with Brian Barnhart. Obviously, Wes, you're starting to drink from the Kool-Aid that's served up by people that have nothing at stake, like Robin Miller.
Right.
And this is where nobody wants to acknowledge the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room is people like Robin Miller think that they know the answers to racing. And yet people like Robin Miller were the cause and precipitated and participated in the undoing of IndyCar racing when there was the big split. Oh, and you know what the split was all about? Too many road races and not enough oval races, not protecting the oval heritage. So then they ended up consuming each other, and CART and the IRL fussed and feuded and fought, and the entire sport turned on its axis. I remember when I started, do you remember the old Winston Million first one?
Oh, sure do.
Well,
yes, sir.
Darlington.
Yes, Darlington.
ESPN had two broadcast teams. The number one broadcast team was led by none other than the great Bob Jenkins.
Yes.
All right? And then I was in charge. I was the play-by-play guy on the backup team. Guess who got assigned to the Winston Million and who got assigned to Mid-Ohio that weekend? Number one team went to the IndyCar race in Mid-Ohio, and I went to the Winston Million.
Right.
You couldn't do that today, could you?
No.
That's how far the focus and the accent, the accentuation in American motorsports has turned. NASCAR is at the top of their game. Yes, they have problems. But
Right.
they're at the top of their
But
game.
who doesn't though, Jack? I mean, the economy sucks. I mean, it's affecting everybody. I mean, you run a short track with your brother at Stafford Motor Speedway, and I know you said that it's had numerous success for many, many years, but even as a promoter, the PR routine, okay, Wesley, the car counts are down, the fans is down. It's happening everywhere. Am I right?
Sure. But how come some organizations are still surviving? Because
And my argument to that too would be that
and going back,
it doesn't cost you money to go turn on your television to watch it. And
doesn't cost a lot of money. You know what though? It doesn't cost a lot of money to go out and promote. And there are too many people. There are too many people that are just. They think, oh, I own a short track, and I'm going to get 100 cars, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. It's hard work.
Right, absolutely.
And Chris Economaki, again, going full circle with our conversation, Chris Economaki would have been the first to always preach that. There was a period of time where it was taboo. You couldn't call somebody that owned a racetrack a promoter. You had to call them a track operator. No, a promoter is the guy that goes out and cuts the lawn, goes down to the local garage, visits with the guys, finds out what's on their mind, tries to stay ahead of the curve in terms of you'll never be able to keep people from spending money in racing, but what you try to do is keep it to where they can stay racing in spite of themselves.
Absolutely.
That's hard work.
that's very accurate. That's a great statement.
That's got nothing to do with the economy, guys. That's got to do with going out there, rolling up your sleeves, trying to be proactive. Look at the emergence of the social media. There are so many things, and there are so many creative opportunities that could be done. Do you need to advertise on TV if you own a local dirt track? No. You know what you can do? You can put up a $100 prize to any guy that's a member of your racing club, your organization, that has the best tweet of the weekend.
Right.
The best YouTube posting by one of your drivers or crew or something like that, he gets an extra 5 gallons of racing fuel. There are creative ways to do it and to tap into what is the emerging method of marketing. NASCAR, by the way, is the first one to actually get in bed with Twitter. Remember the Firecracker 400 presented by #NASCAR?
Yep.
I'm 62 years old. I have a hard time. I mean, I can't even instant message because my fingers are too fat. But I can see where the future is. And you know what? Those that don't want to embrace it, explore it, exploit it, the rest of y'all are going to be left behind.
Hey, it's just like social marketing. It's just like with timing and scoring and racing, Jack. And I know you were around at those times, and so was Chris Economaki and Ken Squire and Bob Jenkins. Back in the day, you had to hand score going to the racetracks. Nowadays, everything's timing and scoring. It's computers. It's the new generation.
And you want to know the great thing? Think about it. The hand scoring, that was the best that was available. But then along came this group AMB, and I'll never forget when they first emerged. And they came to SEMA, and they were from they were from over in Europe, and they had done some go-karting with this stuff, and they met with incredible resistance, both from major sanctioning bodies to little short tracks.
Right.
Why? Well, they're using those damn computers. You have to be open to change.
Right.
Well, yeah, because in the computers, people could program them to do whatever they wanted to, and people could just buy their way into wins by reprogramming the computers. I remember that like it was yesterday, Jack. That is hilarious.
I ran a racing series separate from Stafford for a number of years, back just around the year 2000. And one of the funny things is, we ran a race one weekend, and the scorers didn't show up. And we didn't tell anybody that we didn't have scores, and we didn't have computers yet.
Oh, no.
And when it came to the payoff window, we said, "Where'd you finish?" "I finished behind Joe Jones." "Where'd you finish?" "I finished behind Ben." All right? We paid everybody off, and they were all happy.
They told the
There
truth.
is a driver that doesn't go out there, that doesn't race, whether it's for 50 laps or 500 laps, that knows who he finished behind and who he finished in front of.
Absolutely.
It's not brain surgery.
Exactly. Definitely.
Amen.
Definitely.
Hey, Jack, can I ask you one more question before we have to wrap this thing up? Running Stafford, you've got Thompson there, you got Waterford there, and you got Stafford there. Do you promoters work together and work your schedules around each other? Because I know some of the other ones do some Saturday shows from time to time, but do you guys work together on the scheduling to make sure you don't step on each other up there?
You try to, and yes, but it's, how would I put it? It's like tribes of Indians, all right? You know, back in the frontier day, yeah, the Cherokees got along with the Apaches, and the Apaches got along with the Iroquois. But when push got to shove, they took care of each other. They took care of themselves. If somebody from the outside, yeah, maybe they might band together and go after Custer. And that's the way promoters are up here. Yeah, we'll try to coordinate schedules, but it's still. I don't think you can have that level of coordination because it is still very parochial.
Sure.
Look across America, and it's unfortunate, but look at the various and sundry rules for late models.
Oh, yeah.
Modified. And you can drive within a 60-mile radius and find 3 different sets of rules. That's counterproductive, but nobody wants to give because they're afraid they may give. So it's just like what I do now in college football. Do you think the SEC is going to give something if they think that it's going to give an advantage to the ACC or the Big 12? Not in life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, I was just curious because down here, that's such a big problem. I see these tracks, I mean, specifically like Motor Mile in South Boston. They always kind of compete with each other. And I look at it and go, if you two would just talk to each other on the phone when you're getting ready to do your schedules and alternate your weekends, both of you would benefit. And it's so frustrating from a fan perspective to think that they couldn't work together and benefit everybody because both of them would get better car counts if they worked it out that way.
Absolutely. That's one thing, Jack. Go ahead.
I would agree with you. I would agree with you. There should be more of that, but it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks.
I understand,
but especially as you guys outlined, with declining car counts across the board, they're afraid, and they're also afraid that, oh my gosh, if I do that, well now my superstar, if he gets mad at me, will have someplace else to go race.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
You know.
Question coming in the chat box. And by the way, I would remind you on ETV Live Online Auto Sports Entertainment Network that we're on 5 different networks. So you mobile, get the app on your Android, BlackBerry, iPhone, smartphone. Just simply put in iTunes Radio, TuneIn Radio, Windows Media Guide, and of course also HD Radio Network and ETVLive-eplay.net. 6 different ways to tune in to And the Winner Is Motorsports Show, as well as Open Paddock and a whole bunch of other great stuff. Don't forget at 9:30 the Full Throttle Cup Series. Jack, one more quick question. This is coming in the chat box. And by the way, you can, if you have a question for any of our guests, coming up we're going to have the POWRi Midgets Champion of the Year, Andrew Felker, on here in just a moment. What does a person wanting to get into broadcasting have to do to make it? And a possible question I'd love to ask you as well is, how did you get your chance in television? Because I done my first TV bit for Fox Sports over the weekend for the Fast Track Racing Series.
If you love motorsports and you want to get involved, go to your local short track and volunteer. Sit up in the booth and be the guy in between that sells the popcorn, and work wherever you can. I started doing this. Back in 1968. I started announcing, and I can't remember. I didn't get a paycheck, I think, until 1974. From announcing. And you just got to, we're very proud at Stafford. I mean, we look at the long history of people that, oh, by the way, worked for nothing when they first started, like Mike Doy, like Alan Bestwick, we like Kyle Rickey. We've got a bunch of people. We kind of populated Motor Racing Network there for a few years. and the other thing, my big break in television, believe it or not, came when Chris Economaki left to go to work for CBS. And it was just by dumb luck. Got a phone call. I had basically gotten out of the broadcast business and owned a very lucrative marketing firm. Found sponsorship for the likes of Alan Kowicki. Remember the Hooters sponsorship and Kraft Foods and Valvoline and a lot of that I was doing. And I get a phone call from Roone Arledge at ABC. They want me to fly to New York, and I sat down at the meeting, and they go, "We want you to replace Chris Economaki." I stood up, and as much as I've always wanted to be on television, and it's been a dream of mine since I was 12 years old, no one can replace Chris Economaki. I started to get up, and they said, "Oh, no, wait a minute. We phrased that the wrong way." And that was pretty much how I got my first TV gig.
Absolutely, definitely. Well, Jack Arute, man, it has been an honor to have you on the program with us for the last 30 minutes. I wish we could. I wish we could set up a segment where we could have you on for 2 hours because you're just a wealth of information. And you tell it like it is. Bottom line, and you've been there, you've seen it.
You come across sometimes, and people think that well, I'm bitter, or I'm curmudgeon-y, or I'm just a mean old man that is fighting the hand that fed him. And that really isn't the case.
Right.
What it is I've been very fortunate. I've been blessed to have, more than almost 5 decades of being involved in motorsports directly. And I think one of the reasons why I had the sustainability is because I was willing to speak out. And if my whole theory is there are no wrong answers. What it is you've got to explore all these possibilities. And that's how you create the dialogue, and from that dialogue comes progress.
Absolutely. Definitely. Well, Jack Arute, buddy, it's been such an honor to have you on the show with us. Justin, have you got one more final question for Jack Arute before we get on out of here? I know me and Mike done some more talking with him.
That's all right, man. I got all I wanted to hear out of that whole IndyCar bit, man. That was true gold, Jack.
It was.
All right, Justin.
Absolutely. Well, Jack, buddy, thank you so much for being on the program, sir. Truly one of the, Chris Economaki was the Dean of Motorsports, but you are definitely right in there in that same caliber. You are a great announcer. You are a great broadcaster. And like I said, you told it like it is here tonight. I appreciate you.
Hey, happy Columbus Day.
Absolutely. That's right. It is Columbus Day.
Thank you, brother.
A little known fact. Christopher Columbus set sail from Spain with 5 boats.
Really?
Yeah, 2 of them fell off the edge. Have a good night, boys.
Take care, Jack Arute. Oh, man, was that just an awesome 30 minutes or what?
That was phenomenal.
Wow.
Holy crap.
Seriously, that was got to be the most straight talk I think I've ever heard out of anybody in any level of broadcasting or racing of any kind whatsoever.
He didn't kiss nobody's foot. He didn't. He just told it like it is. At one point, he even said, "Wesley, no, you're wrong. This is not right. This is, this is how it is. This is the way it is. Don't say that NASCAR has not become fun anymore. It's just become so commercialized." But it's become commercialized because we as people have made it that way.
That's very true.
And I have a new I'm not saying that I hate NASCAR. Don't get me wrong. I love NASCAR. Last night's race at Talladega to me was a friggin' joke. And I cannot believe, it warms my heart and my mind is better at ease because I'm not the only one that felt that way. Here is a broadcaster of 50+ years that says, "Look, Talladega was a joke." But people love to see flipping. They love to see crashes. They love to see wrecks. Mike's even jumped on me on the bandwagon about that stuff.
Well, I was just saying, this goes full circle with what I was just telling Mike here at the opening of the show was that fans, they want to see the big crash and the sparks flying, parts flying God knows where, but the wrecking and top-of-the-line finishing, that's what people want to see.
Yeah, well, here's my thing. If you go to a racetrack to see somebody wreck and flip or whatever and get hurt, then that's just wrong. It's an unknown in the sport. Am I right, Mike Neff? We know that
I agree. You always hear everybody
happen.
All the purists always say, "I'm not there to see wrecks." And they're not. But the problem is the vast majority of people aren't purists. The vast majority of people are going there to be entertained, and unfortunately that entertainment usually includes people wanting to see wrecks. And that's why Bristol turned into what it did, because people weren't having to wreck people to pass them anymore, and so people quit going.
And it became fun no more.
Yep.
Hey, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have on the Power Eye Midgets champion of 2012, Andrew Felker. Is that his name there? Justin Rose now. Talk a little bit about him before we go to break.
Andrew Felker, yeah, that's his name. And Andrew, he's a hell of a kid. He's growing up, from the Missouri, Oklahoma, that type of area. Does a little bit with Power Eye, occasionally hits the bigger shows like the Chili Bowl and so on. And just this last year, Andrew just missed out on the A main, and I think he finished like 8th or something in one of the B mains. So he almost made the big dance at the Chili Bowl, and that's saying a lot with 275 guys there last year.
Absolutely, definitely.
Very cool.
We're gonna take a break. When we come back, Andrew Felker, the Power Eye National Champion of 2012 for the Power Eye Midgets. And by the way, don't forget the Power Eye Midgets are on ETV Live. The Sim Series is the Lucas Oil Power Eye Sim Series. What the hell's so funny?
Just had to remind him it was the Sim Series.
I was just doing that to be nice. I don't know what people say. The real series is on, really. No, the Lucas Oil Power Eye Midget Sim Series is on every Sunday night with Justin Rose. Now, Justin, talk about it. You and Brett Wheeler. Yeah! I gotta send that out to Brett.
Oh, man, Brett, what a character. He's a pleasure to work with, the Brett, Kenny Brown, everybody with Power Eye that's come on board that series has just really made it what it is, and it's just so fun to be able to sit back and watch some of the best racing, of any kind, whether it's, real life or electronic racing. I mean, that race we had 2 weeks ago at Clarksville was probably bar none, one of the most exciting races I've ever seen. It's certainly top 5, and I guarantee it, and these guys, a lot of these guys like Andrew Felker, who we're going to talk to next year on the And the Winner Is Motorsports show, those guys actually race the Power Eye Midget Sim Series as well. So, I mean, you have real-life drivers like Tyler Thomas, Andrew Felker, Christopher Bell. Those guys, they've all run with Power Eye at some point or another in the past. And, what a series. I mean, you're running against real-life drivers who go out there and do the real thing. So what more can I really say about the series, really?
From Carl Junction, Missouri, Lucas Oil National Midget Series Power Eye Champion of the Midgets, Andrew Felker, right after the break. This is And the Winner Is Motorsports Show.
The fever. Intense. NASCAR racing experience. The authentic racing experience. Packages start at just $329. Thrilling. Yeah! The rush. The NASCAR racing experience. Call 1-877-RACE-LAP today.
ETV Live, always pushing the bar just a little bit further, is proud to introduce ETV Live Radio, supported by the HD Radio Network. ETV Live Radio features classic rock every hour, every day. You can also catch live events such as Race Day broadcast right from the booth, Open Paddock Live at 9:30 p.m. Tuesday nights, The Pit Report on Friday nights at 7 p.m. ETV Live Radio featured in the sports section of iTunes. Get the mobile app from TuneIn.com and look for us on Windows Media Guide. ETV Live Radio on the HD Radio Network.
Way we do. But everybody, we want to welcome you back to And the Winner Is Motorsports Show. We were talking off mic, as all broadcasters do.
Or on mic.
Yeah, exactly. Let me tell you something, and I've learned this. In broadcasting, the mics are always hot.
Yep.
The mics are always hot.
You got to plan it that way.
Sometimes they're talking, and they'll say, all right, 5 seconds to break. We have a producer, J.D. Webb, executive producer. He's not with us tonight. By the way, he's still recovering from heart surgery. I know he was spending some time with his sister in Utah. He just said, I need to go up there and spend time with my family. I haven't seen my sister in a long time. I'm coming off of this heart surgery. I'm going in for another one. I don't know what the unknowns are. But I definitely do. Yeah, I wish the best, and definitely for J.D. Webb. And also another one, a sad Sunday for Fast Track family yesterday, Mike and Justin, after a successful weekend of the Fast Track World Championships. How about this, Mike Neff? 186 entrants in 2 days.
Awesome.
That's unbelievable, Wesley. Absolutely unbelievable.
The biggest.
That's awesome. I was like, they had 130 UMP modifieds up there at Eldora.
Right. The biggest turnout ever. Oh, yeah. I love it.
It's cool. I'm glad to see that racing is getting turnouts like that again. I'm hoping that we've turned a corner.
At the biggest race ever for Fast Track, me and Lenny Baticki and Candace Blanchard done the Fox Sports TV stuff, and I will let everybody know the first televised race on Fox Sports for the Fast Track Racing Series will be on January the 21st. January 21st, me and Stan Lester, we confirmed all that stuff on.
Set your DVR now.
So set your DVR on, and I understand as well, Mike Neff, as it's going to have that same kind of replay like the Summer Shootout series at Charlotte that was on Fox Sports. It's supposed to come on Monday, January 21st at 6 o'clock, which means I'll be doing the radio show here on And the Winner Is. But you can DVR, you can TiVo it, whatever. And then it replays again on Tuesday, I think, at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and then Saturday at 11 a.m. There's like 3 or 4 different times it'll archive. But the first one will be January the 21st, and I'm telling you what, Mike Neff, Lenny Baticki is a wealth of information. I am as well.
Oh, he's the dude.
Candace is just the beauty of, she's a former Miss North Carolina back in 2011. She's a sweetheart.
Nice.
She's a great talent on camera as well. And I'm telling you, we got a lot of great stuff. We got the emotion, the anger, the excitement of dirt track racing for Fast Track, and people are really going to be blown away. I really believe that. And by the way, ETV Live Radio finally hooked up with Fast Track Radio Network on Thursday night, and John Westland and I done a 4-hour practice show. You would have thought, I mean, it was awesome. It was a great, great show, Mike. It was a great one.
Cool.
Don't have a voice. So.
It's because you were projecting.
I was projecting. And what are you're eating? So what are you projecting in your mouth right now?
I am projecting some ramen noodles right now.
Hey, Mike, at least I was able to cut my mic and at least eat my dang chicken sandwich.
Well,
wow, everybody's
he keeps asking me questions, and I'm trying to answer and eat at the same time.
Wow, y'all are just so unprofessional.
I know. It's completely unprofessional. I apologize. I won't do it anymore.
Oh, you're hungry. I know you're hungry.
It was wrong.
I know you're hungry. Okay.
Are you going to call Mr. Felker? Because we got to get Mr. Hoffman in before 7:25.
Hey, why?
Because he's got another radio show at 7:25.
Oh, wow. What's he doing at
Pick up pace. I don't know.
We're going to try to give him a call here real quick. The number you gave me ain't working.
I will get right on that.
Hang on.
I was saying, I didn't get
right now. No, it's, wait a minute. There it is. Let's try it. Andrew Felker. Try to give him a call here. But, who else we got lined up on the show? Ross Kenseth, Matt Kenseth's brother.
Did you hear from Alan?
Oh, it's Matt Kenseth's son.
Kenseth's son, not his brother.
Son, exactly. Okay.
Yeah. Did you hear from Alan?
I texted him. I gave you his email.
Cool, because I sent him an email today. I talked to him Saturday night after the race. Told him we'd love to have him on. He said he was supposed to have Ross all day today to send him a reminder, and he'd make sure he came on. And so,
all right,
I sent him the reminder today, but I did not hear back from him. So I don't know if it worked out that way. I don't know if Ross had something else going on or not, but was hoping we'd have him on.
Well, we'll make it happen. Let's try to get up with Andrew Felker here real quick.
Get the Felkster first.
Absolutely, and I understand this guy's like a sensation, man. Everybody loves this kid.
Meet the Felkers.
You know, honestly, I think he has what it takes to make the jump into the next stage of open wheel motorsports, especially on dirt, whether it be winning sprint cars or USAC sprint cars in Indiana. He's got talent. Honestly, that's how I feel about him. I've watched him race, a couple times, in Illinois in real life. I've watched him race, in the online world. The kid's got talent just as much as Chris Bell. As much as we push Chris Bell, Andrew Felker certainly has the talent to take the step too.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to try to get in contact with this young man, Andrew Felker, here on And the Winner Is Motorsports Show. We appreciate everybody tuned in all over the country. Man, I'm just, what a great thing, what a great interview having Jack Arute on. I mean, he just I don't know why he calls himself a mean old man. I mean, he's
calling it like it is.
He's great at what he does. You know,
That's
and
all
he's
there
had a
was to
great
it.
career.
On it like it is.
Well, honestly, I mean, what more could you ask for from Jack Arute? I mean, yeah, I can see where people would call him that, but they're just the people that don't have, you know,
Respect?
yeah, respect really, or you know, the bigger picture that some of us like to carry of what's going on.
All right, we're going to try to call up Mr. Andrew Felker one more time. Get him to answer the line. I'll be a little ring now. Maybe. And, of course, Andrew Felker, the Lucas Oil National Power Eye Midgets champion. He's not answering.
Sadness.
He just sent me that same number. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if he's in a bad cell area or not. But,
Probably not ringing, kind of like when we tried to get Lee Pulliam that one night.
That could be.
It's crazy how that works.
Pay your phone bill.
Modern technology.
Wesley, try it with the extra digit there in front. See if that goes through.
Nah, that's not the cause. I don't know what's causing it. We'll find out here. Let's try it one more time. We'll see. I really would like to have Andrew Felker on because we were supposed to hit him on what, 2 weeks ago? I think it was.
No, we were supposed to have Tyler Thomas, who won at Macon Speedway here last week, and
So Lucas Oil Series Power Eye Midgets, they're done for the year. This is it.
This is it. This is their big wrap up outside of their banquet.
Absolutely. Wow. And, of course, Nick Hoffman's going to be on the program. We're also trying to set up a deal with Ross Kinsiff to have him on the show. I just still cannot believe that they've done an act. Now, let me ask you a question. Why did, while we're still trying to connect to Andrew Felker, Mike Neff, how many cars did Nashville have for the All-American 400?
40. Well, technically, they started with 42. 3 of them had mechanical failures during activities Friday morning. And so 39 of them took qualifying times. They had one driver that was trying to get a motor in his car overnight so he could have filled out the 40-car field, but they ended up starting 39.
Right. Wow. And how much did it pay to win?
I never had that totally confirmed, but I believe it was $22,000.
And they only had 40 cars.
Yep.
And,
But, well, I'm sorry to cut you off, Wesley, but, Chili Bowl is going to pay a big amount, and they're going to have 275. I'm hearing this year it might be actually breaking the 300 mark, Wesley.
Could be.
Phenomenal.
Because
All right.
it's, I don't know. I guess I try to figure out, and maybe I don't follow it well enough, but I don't know how many true super late model cars there are across the country.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, I don't know that you could get more than 130 or 140 of them if you had every single super late model show up.
Do you think the super late models are not around like they used to be also?
I don't know. I see people like Brandon Ward getting in them.
It's happening to dirt, and it's happening to asphalt.
But Brandon Ward's telling me, getting into a super is cheaper and more fun than being in a late model.
I just don't get it.
But it's,
How?
I think it's I think because he said you can go faster and they're easier to drive and they cost less than putting together a late model. Now, a crate late model is a different story. But a true late model with a built motor in it, guys are spending as much or more money on a Dodge motor than they are on a super late model motor.
Try that number, Wesley. See if we can't get Andrew Felker over
One
there.
more chance, and I'm not playing games no more.
Oh, man, he's going to drop the strike 3 on him.
He's going to drop the panhandle.
Damn playoffs is in season with baseball, and I'm the same way here on the show. 3 strikes and you're out.
Hello?
And he knocks.
Hey, he got lucky.
Run, Andrew Felker. How you doing, my friend?
Not too bad, you?
I'm doing great, man. I tried to call you 2 times. Did your phone not ring?
No, well, it didn't ring at all.
Oh, these stupid cell phones, man. Don't they just suck? Let's just go back to rotary dial and put a wire in a wall.
Said Mr. Ziffel up on the pole at the end of the street.
Oh,
Great.
Oh, wow. Hey, real quickly, tell everybody about Andrew Felker, driver, and the 2012 Lucas Oil POWRi Midget Series champion on the show, man. Tell us about your racing career.
Well, I mean, this is my 9th year of racing. I raced micro sprints and midgets, and this past season we raced the micro and the midget with the Lucas Oil POWRi Series, and managed to pick up 2 national wins and 2 West Region wins, and finished it off by picking up the national championship with the midget.
Wow, definitely. Justin Rosenau, this is your Midwest guest on your Midwest Racing Report. Let's we'll let you do a little bit of the talking with the driver Andrew Felker. Go ahead, buddy.
Well, Andrew, obviously, you know me. We used to race it in the Sim Series on Sunday nights here on the ETV Live Sim Broadcasting Network. Andrew, I noticed a lot of big competition. You know, Brady Bacon, Brian Clausen, Michael Pickens from New Zealand. I mean, you guys are racing. You know, literally the best of the best drivers, all from all walks of the world. Really, you know, describe to the people who don't know what POWRi is, what the POWRi Series really is, as far as who the people are, what the cars are, how good the racing really is.
I mean, the POWRi Series is definitely one of the best dirt series around right now. I mean, when it comes to open wheel racing, they, other than a few things, have the best thing going right now. And for midgets, I mean, a lot of series are struggling to get over 20 cars, and this year it seemed about every event we had at least 40 to 50 cars mixing in some of the best in the world when it came to midget racing.
Mike Neff?
I'm curious, you got to run...
Again. You got to give him a minute.
I wasn't expecting that one. You got to run at Belle Claire. I hear mixed results on that, or mixed opinions, I guess I should say, on that track. But most of the people I talk to that win there, at least, think it is just a phenomenal facility. How cool was it running a midget around that tight little track?
I would say with the POWRi Series, we go there 3 to 4 times a season. And, I mean, that's by far my favorite midget track we go to. I mean, it's tied up. It's perfect size for midgets. A small, tight bull ring. I mean, you run top, bottom, middle, all over the place, slide jobs every corner. I mean, when it comes to midget racing, you don't get much better than that.
Absolutely.
I'm curious, from a sanctioning body standpoint, I'm assuming you've run some USAC stuff before. Compare and contrast, if you will, in your high school English class terms. Compare and contrast USAC versus POWRi.
I mean, POWRi right now, I mean, they definitely have saved the sport of midget racing. USAC here the last couple of years have kind of been struggling to get the car count. Just the cost of some of the teams that came into USAC and the pavement side of it, the dirt side of the POWRi deal has just kind of flourished. And the biggest thing is they're not going to the pavement. They're not going to big half miles where you're having to have huge motors. They're running on racetracks that are quarter miles and smaller for the most part, to where you don't have to have the big $50,000 motor. You can have the $10,000 motor and run up front.
So is what I'm hearing true, Andrew, that some of these USAC guys are really spending $50,000 to $70,000 for a bullet, a motor that's going to run maybe 4 races, if that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a handful of guys that are doing that, and a lot of those guys are the retail costs on their motors are that, but they're not even paying that because they're getting them for free or discounted costs because they're going to the bigger teams. I mean, yes, there are motors out there, but they're not all at that price. I mean, there's a lot of good companies that are making good affordable motors that can run with those motors on any given night that half the cost.
Well, Andrew, one thing I want to bring up too is the young contingent that likes to be in the electronic world. The guys like us, our age, from the say 15 to age 30, they all like to do a lot with social media, computer gaming, that kind of stuff. And you run the Sunday night POWRi National Midget Sim Series. Now, tell everybody that's listening what that's all about.
Yeah, the POWRi Sim Series, one of those, run a lot of the POWRi tracks similar to the POWRi Series. Cars are the same. One of those, I have my car in game. A lot of the guys that race with POWRi Series also have their cars in game. And, well, I mean, no different than the actual. You can get to the real deal. And say we got a handful of guys that actually run the POWRi Series, including Tyler Thomas and Christopher Bell, some of those guys that hop in there and race with the guys that want to do the sim deal.
Definitely. You got a lag on your phone there. Of course, Andrew Felker on the program. I don't know what's going on there, but definitely. You live in Missouri. Do you drive up and down the elf, so to speak, of the United States, and that's where all the races go to?
Yeah, all the races we travel to, I mean, we're 6-7 hours from most tracks. But we travel through most of the Midwest, Wisconsin, Texas, Nebraska. I mean, that's mainly the center part of the country. We travel about most of it.
Right, definitely. Mike Neff?
I'm curious, since you're in the open wheel world of things, do you have aspirations to end up running in car? Would you like to get stock cars, or do you have to stand on controversy?
I mean, no driver wants to just stay where they're at. I mean, I'd love to be able to move up, do the sprint cars, Silver Crown, winged sprint cars, just kind of wherever. But I mean, realistically, with how the company is and trying to get sponsors and stuff, I'm definitely happy where I'm at with midget racing and just kind of go with the flow of things and see where it takes me.
Definitely, man. Well, do you see yourself wanting to run NASCAR, or do you see yourself wanting to move up into like a dirt late model and run an Eldora, the Dream 100, or Knoxville? Or would it be something if the Lucas Oil Power Midgets ever raced at Knoxville?
I mean, I'd love to be able to say I did the NASCAR thing, but when it comes down to actual racing, I love the open wheel deal. Grew up with the late models and stuff. Would like to be able to hop in them at least one time just to be able to say I actually got to drive them. I don't see POWRi doing the Knoxville deal. Just like I said earlier, the tracks POWRi goes through are the quarter miles, and we'll go to a couple tracks bigger. Just Knoxville, when it comes down to it, is more than not a motor track and doesn't play into the series.
I don't know if there's a way possibly if our producer John Wessling can show a video of, per se, one of those Lucas Oil POWRi midgets in racing action, or look you up on one of the accounts and give a description of the cars. But it's safe enough to say those cars are totally different than a midget car or a USAC car. I mean, am I correct? Bottom line, I mean, it's a totally different avenue.
No, I mean, the cars are the exact same. I mean, the POWRi versus the USAC deal. I mean, you'll have guys that run USAC will come on POWRi. For the most part, the rules are all the same, just a few minor rule differences for the USAC side.
Absolutely, but everything is pretty much on equal playing field with the USAC car and the POWRi midget. It's a different sanctioning body.
Yeah, I mean, one of those. The USAC deal is just an older series, has been around for a lot longer. I mean, you have a lot more of the Tony Stewart teams, the Casey Canes. A lot of the big teams are still with the USAC deal running, so that's where all the money's kind of been at for the big motors and stuff.
And I know a lot of people feel that USAC's going under, Mike Neff. We've talked about that on the show.
I completely agree on that. I'm curious, can you take a POWRi midget and with minor modifications go run a USAC race?
Yeah, I mean, we've ran a couple of USAC races this year and we'll have some co-sanctioning races. But I mean, the biggest difference is the motors, and they'll have a rev limiter rule in USAC to try to keep the motors from having to only run 4 races. They're trying to make the rules to where they can't. The big motors aren't the advantage, but they've gone around that, and I mean, the motors are still making a big difference.
Gotcha.
And let's go back up to Michigan with Justin Rose now. I keep calling him the Racing Cowboy. We got to find out a nickname for him.
The Cowboy's not working. The Master of Mayhem, or Mayhem Master, or Motorsports Mayhem Master, whatever it is.
It's also, you don't call him Goat Roper.
I didn't say that. I'm not saying that tonight.
You're God, Wesley. But Andrew, one thing I want to point out is, like we've just discussed here, POWRi certainly expanding. Do you see POWRi actually taking over what USAC has as far as the crown jewel events, like, Midget Week, the Hut 100, and possibly gaining sanction on Belleville? I mean, really, those are the big races every year. The Hut 100, the Belleville Midget Nationals.
They race Eldora, Justin?
Midgets do, yep. They run the 4 Crown there, but USAC's probably going to still have hold on that as long as they're still around because USAC, they run Silver Crown, sprints, midgets, you name it, that's their deal. But, Andrew, do you see POWRi expanding next year to really take that next step to really become more of a national series rather than just a regional series, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely been a lot of rumors going around, and like the 100 you mentioned, there's always been a huge USAC show, and it started going down, and they got POWRi to be part of it, and they kind of picked that deal back up. And, well, I mean, I know Belleville Midget Nationals have been, I mean, we talked to the people there personally at Belleville, and they would like to have POWRi be part of it. And as the thing grows, I mean, well, it's definitely getting bigger and bigger. I mean, the rumors going around, it could be nationwide by next couple of years.
Good deal, good deal. Well, folks, that's Andrew Felker, driver out of Carl Junction, Missouri. He is your 2012 Lucas Oil POWRi National Midget Series points champion. Andrew, you finished with a couple wins on the National Series this year. You did very well, placed a lot of top 5s, a lot of top 10s. Very rare did you have any trouble. But, again, congratulations on your awesome season, and we hope to see you do well next year.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on here.
And obviously, Mike, what is midget car racing popular up in your part of Missouri, Andrew? I mean, I know you've got Lucas Oil Raceway in St. Louis, just outside of St. Louis, in Wheatland, Missouri, and they run super late models. And I mean, but is bottom line the midget cars, are they pretty much big in the Midwest where you're at?
Honestly, here, right around where I live, there's not a lot of midget racing. Either you got to go a couple hours south down to the Tulsa area where, I mean, you have a ton of cars there just from the Chili Bowl and stuff. But then past me, well, you got to go about 3 hours on up to St. Louis till you really hit the midget racing again in St. Louis area. A lot of my area of Missouri is all the late models and modifieds.
Absolutely, definitely.
It's all about the Lou.
Now, if you say, Wesley, mind your own damn business, that's fine, But how much does a normal Lucas Oil POWRi midget race pay to win? Or is there no money, you just get a little purse money, and then the big money's in the purse for the championship?
The minimum pay for any of the POWRi National shows is $2,000 to win, I believe $200 to start. I mean, it's definitely paid pretty good money for all the shows.
Yeah, that's definitely very good, definitely. Well, buddy, before we let you go ahead and thank out your sponsors on your car and everything, and congratulations, and look forward to having you back on here again on And the Winner Is. And now, are you done racing for the year? Or are there any other tracks you're going to try to race at, or are you just running Lucas Oil POWRi midgets only and done, and you prepare for 2013? And will we see you at the Chili Bowl?
Yeah, let's actually head out next week, head down under to Australia to run a few weeks down there with the midget team, and then back out here to actually head out to California Thanksgiving weekend to do the Turkey Night deal, and then we'll definitely be at the Chili Bowl with 2 cars, possibly 3-car team. It depends on the funding and sponsorship, but I mean, guys, especially thanks 66 Truck Foreign Salvage, my family there. Without them, none of my racing would be possible. Auto Express, KBR Performance, Fontana Engines, CSI Shocks, just everyone's on that car. I'm definitely leaving out a bunch of them, but without all of them, it wouldn't be possible.
Definitely, and I'll tell you something as well. Lucas Oil, and I know you run their series with the POWRi midgets, but Lucas Oil, they are all over everywhere in motorsports, aren't they, brother?
I believe he may have disconnected.
Andrew, are you there, buddy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Lucas Oil is definitely giving back to the dirt race. I mean, without them, I don't think they'd be near the series and the tracks around.
I mean, they're everywhere, Mike. Now, if you see them in
oh, dude, they are in everything. Truck pulls, tractor pulls, motorcycles, boat drags.
Late model, sprint cars.
Late model sprint cars, motocross. I mean, if there's a form of motorsports that Lucas Oil is not in, I'd like to see what it is. Outside of NASCAR, I don't know that there's any Lucas Oil sponsorship in NASCAR at all.
Well, Bobby Gerhart was driving the Lucas.
That's true. Well, but that's ARCA. That's
right. It's not NASCAR.
That's not really NASCAR.
I don't know. Maybe he hates NASCAR. I don't know.
Well, it may be one of those things that they think that they can spend the same amount of money and sponsor 107 other things instead of just putting their money into NASCAR.
Maybe so. Maybe so. Definitely. No doubt about it. Money. That's what John Wessling says. Andrew Felker, buddy, thank you so much for being on the program. Congratulations on winning that championship, and we'll see you back here on another radio show here on And the Winner Is, and when you win again.
Yeah, I'm say thanks for having me on here, and look forward to being on here again.
Absolutely, definitely, no doubt about it. Justin, thank you for setting that up with Andrew Felker tonight.
Not a problem. I enjoy talking to a lot of these Power I guys, doing the broadcasting here on Sunday nights here on the ETV Live online Auto Sports Entertainment Network, Wesley.
Oh, wait a minute. So, Andrew, you run the Sim Series on Sunday night?
Yeah.
What do you think of it? Tell Mike Neff that he needs to,
were you not listening to the interview earlier? He was telling you that it's a similar activity.
Exactly, but I just wanted to get it through your head one more time that we have professional drivers that run this.
It's still a game.
It doesn't get much better. I mean, one of those, it gets boring sitting at home, and the sim racing feels about push you can get to get that adrenaline rush of being behind the wheel.
But do you really get that feeling of racing and knowing you're running for victory, running them sim games, though, is Andrew? That's the question I'm asking you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, one of those, we're always, no different than a roll race car. We're always messing with setups, and I got a bunch of my buddies that run with the Power I Series in real life that we all get online together. I mean, we're all wanting to be able to brag that we're the quicker car that night.
I rest my case.
Whatever. I had this discussion this weekend because these two dudes over at Nashville are both huge sim guys. They've been running, the one guy said he's been running sim for 15 years.
Wow.
He's been racing sim cars.
He's a sim racer for 15 years? That's pretty good.
15 years he's been running sim stuff.
And you made fun of him, didn't you?
And, I called him out on it. I said, how long does it take you to put a front clip on your sim car? Because, now, mind you, this guy's got like 5 track championships at Nashville Fairground Speedway. I mean, he races real cars, too. And he's like, I get the same excitement and adrenaline rush playing a game as I do racing a regular car.
Oh, my God. Here we go.
And I'm like,
ding,
really?
Ding, 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 ding.
Do you play Madden? And he's like, no, I don't play Madden. Because I said, because I know there's dudes that play Madden that get the same adrenaline rush. But if you put them on a professional football field, they're going to get their ass handed to them. It's not the same thing. Wow. It's a game. As long as you admit it's a game and it's not real, I'm fine with it.
Andrew Felker, Andrew, I'm sorry you're subject to this. Okay, I'm sorry, my friend.
It's all good.
It's all good. And it's all in fun. Get the bit and try to love someone. Bottom line, when it takes you 2 weeks to put a front clip on your sim car, then I'll believe it's real racing.
We'll never beat your ass at the end of the show, okay, Smarty? Hey, Andrew, buddy, thank you so much, man. Take care.
Hey, you guys too.
Andrew Felker, the Lucas Oil late model, or the Lucas Oil Power I Midget Series champion. See what you did? You're always unhappy, Mike. You always got to forget.
Nothing. Y'all are the ones that started stirring crap up about sim racing.
Level, making
because you like to try and hang on to this belief that it's real racing and it's a game.
I said we hang him, Justin Rose. Now,
how much do you pay for the tires on your sim car?
Huh?
How much do you pay for tires for your sim car?
I don't sim race. I just announced.
Whatever the
you announced it. That's even worse, dude. We don't even want to go there.
Whatever that's what it is right there. I'm telling you what.
Just tell him.
Whatever. Oh, now let me tell you something. I will acknowledge that yes, it is not real. You're not in a real damn car. You don't smell the real smells, all that stuff. Yeah, I acknowledge it's not real. But the thrill of racing, the thrill of victory, that kind of stuff, that stuff is still real. That carries over from real life.
And it is from Madden football too, but you're not a real football player if you're playing Madden.
It's different. It's not like you're running around in a damn electronic box trying to hit you.
It's not different.
There's the Madden.
It's the same thrill. It's the same excitement winning a game.
Hey, you know what? You're an old damn grunt, Mike Neff. You enjoy.
Tell me how it's different.
I'm telling you right now, it's not like you get it in a damn electronic box and you're sitting there running around trying to hit imaginary electronic objects. What you're doing is you got a wheel, you got a gas pedal. In some cases, like me, I got a nicer wheel. I've got a gearbox that allows me to drive.
Hey,
and there's guys using that Wii Connect controller that stand in front of their television and run and make a throwing motion and everything else.
Let me discern something to you, Mike. Those guys that play those console games, that's not sim racing to me. Gran Turismo 5, that kind of stuff. Those guys, that's not even that. No, seriously. I can keep stumbling over myself about this, but no, the Wii Connect wheels, dude, that's just a damn joke. I've watched my nephews play it.
What did you say? Wii Connect wheels?
Whatever, the Xbox Connect, whatever the hell it is, Wesley. I'm telling you guys right damn now that.
My God.
So now, depending on which type of sim racing you do, determines whether you're actually racing or not.
No, I'm telling you, when you actually sit there and turn a wheel, gas pedals and whatnot, that right there is sim racing to me. You're actually mimicking the real life deal. I mean, when you're sitting there holding the damn controller, pressing buttons, this, that, and the other, that's not sim racing to me. I mean, that's the difference to me. Somebody that has invested money in it, that gets the return out of it. I mean, hell, just like I was telling you guys earlier, I was running a race at Daytona today in the Nationwide car on iRacing. That was got to be some damn fun there, because running 3-4 wide there is just ridiculous, because you get that same feeling, holy shit, do I got to keep it off of these guys, that kind of stuff.
Oh, watch your language.
Oh, yeah, sorry for my potty mouth, but just I'm telling it like it is, Wesley. It's just that type of feeling that you get in sim racing. You cannot do that with a regular Wii controller or Kinect controller or whatever. Why not? Because you just don't feel as connected to the car as you would be by having a steering wheel and pedals and a gearbox.
Aha.
That's how it is to me.
We're going to commercial break. We'll continue this subject here in a moment. I'm ending this battle. Somebody ring the bell. We're at the end of round number 1. And we're going to end this battle for now. When we come back, Justin Rose now can elaborate on it a little bit more. Coming up also, Alan Dietz and Ross Kenseth. Don't go anywhere, and the winner is. We'll be right back right after this. You guys.
The Pit Report, featured every Friday night at 7 p.m. live on ETV Live Radio. Join Dakota Ehrman and J.D. Webb for weekly race recaps, driver interviews, and updates. Unabridged, uncensored, and no knotheads, cowboy. The Pit Report, live on ETV Live Radio, 7 p.m. every Friday night.
Shortway Real Estate Incorporated, conveniently located off of intersection I-81 and I-77 in Wytheville, Virginia. Services all of Southwest Virginia in residential, farms, recreational, and commercial properties. The company is owned by Jason and Judy Short. Judy has been in the real estate market for over 15 years and is the broker of Shortway Real Estate. And they have 2 of the top agents in Southwest Virginia. Their goal is simple: to provide the best customer service and build business on repeat clients. You can get pre-approvals in less than 20 minutes. They have many properties located on over 300 websites nationwide. You can call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for customer service guaranteed. And guess what? Licensed in Virginia, they can show you any property listed in the Commonwealth state. They're located at 1205 East Main Street in Wytheville, Virginia. For more details, call 276-223-4018. That's 276-223-4018. Shortway Real Estate Incorporated, reminding you, take the short way home.
Hey, JD with ETV Live Radio, your source for online autosports entertainment. Tune in every Monday night at 6 p.m. for 2 hours of And the Winner Is Motorsports Show with Wesley Outland from the Fast Track Racing Series and Michael Neff. They bring you the down-home local asphalt and dirt track racing from go-karts to go-fast, late model, and everything in between. Local results, interviews, and more. ETV Live Radio. Look for us on iTunes, TuneIn Radio, and Windows Media Guide. You can also find us at etv-eplay.net.
Shut up, Mike!
Anyhow, folks, welcome back to the And the Winner Is Motorsports Show. Wesley Outland, the guy that just keeps laughing like a crazy bat.
The hyena of motorsports.
Yeah, really, the hyena of motorsports.
Justin, there he goes. That's a perfect.
Then you got, the Walter of motorsports and Mike.
There you go. I'm cool with that.
We got Justin Rose now.
Toothless grump of motorsports.
We got Justin Rose now, the hillbilly of motorsports. Tell by the picture.
Hey, you can call me hillbilly. At least I'm proud of what I do.
You like that one, the hillbilly of motorsports? You like that one?
Why not? I jerry-rig everything.
There we go. The hillbilly of motorsports. That's what it's going to be. I think we've come up with a nickname, Mike. What do you think?
I think that's awesome. Hey, I got another story for you from Nashville, too.
Oh, God.
Y'all remember last year?
Let's continue where you made fun of the person about sim racing.
Y'all remember? Well, I can get you into that, too. But y'all remember last year?
Let's not go there again.
When we had the famous God Bless My Smoking Hot Wife preacher, dude?
That was not at Nashville.
It was at Nashville Super Speedway.
Right.
Well, they had him at the fairgrounds, too. He's been the preacher for the fairgrounds for I don't know how long, a very long time. So, Saturday, in his Sunday go-to-meeting overalls, he's on the stage conducting a wedding ceremony at the All-American 400.
Wow.
They had... words really can't describe it. And I try not to stereotype, but if you have in your mind a vision of the uber prototypical Dale Earnhardt fan, okay? Dude's about 50, has more than shoulder length, ultra stringy hair with his Dale Earnhardt hat on backwards in a driving suit that I'm guessing he got at Party City as a Halloween costume. That's what he wore for his wedding day at the All-American 400. His girlfriend has on, I'm trying to remember who it was. Was it Max Pappas or no? It was Tagliani that ran down pit lane naked after he won an IndyCar race.
Yeah.
But in reality, he actually had that little checkered thing wrapped around him. Well, that's what this young woman was wearing, along with boots that were higher than her knees, that were platforms. They looked like they were from a Kiss concert. And some
so
kind
what you're
of
saying is this was a trailer park wedding, Mike?
Dude, this was yes. I mean, this is true trailer park, but it was more than that. I mean, it is so hard. I can't really describe it. I really need to send y'all the picture of it. Maybe next week we can have them flash it up on the front. But anyway. So anyway, the preacher dude conducted the ceremony, and of course couldn't do like traditional vows. So he said stuff, and it's out on YouTube somewhere if you look it up. But the vows were something like, do you promise to bring him in for, if his tire pressures are low, will you still love him or something? I mean, it was just, it was indescribable. That's all I can say. But it made me proud to be an American, to know that could go on in this fight.
NASCAR Media Group, I can't go to the phone.
Hey, we're trying to get up with Alan Dietz now, the Voice of the Pro All-Star Series.
Because you want to get his opinion on that wedding, I know.
Dude, I really want to.
I gotta look. I may be able to find a picture of it out here.
He might be tired. Alan Dietz might be out of it.
What?
The weekend he's had?
Well, he had all day Sunday to rest.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you something. That's a long damn drive from North Carolina to Nashville, Tennessee. Okay, fellas?
Dude, I was there.
Dude,
Hello.
That's nothing. I drove seriously 13 hours on 1 hour of sleep for my honeymoon, and that was from where I live all the way up here in Michigan, all the way down to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, which is like 5 seconds from the North Carolina border.
No, it's not.
Well, whatever. It's 5 seconds. 13 hours one way. You know, what's another 5 minutes? It just seems like 5 seconds.
Race results around the country. Let's do that while we're waiting for Alan Dietz and Ross Kinza for Nick Hoffman to get back with us. Man, I can't hate this. I can't stand it when these guests are going to be on and then they dilly-dally around.
Well, I gave you advance enough warning that we had to get him on, but you couldn't. So
I had Justin Rose now, the hillbilly and motor.
And we had that. I'm with you.
Let's get Felker on. Let's get Felkner on.
There you go. Hang on a second before you go anywhere. Let me jump back down into our chat box here momentarily and paste this link for you to see if maybe our illustrious producer could figure out a way to get that up on the front page while we're talking about race results.
Oh, I think.
But that is from SB Nation, my buddy Matt Weaver, who was there with me tweeting away at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway.
Absolutely.
Captured the video of the wedding ceremony.
This preacher guy is like Bubba. Seriously,
Dude,
I just opened it up.
It's
phenomenal.
Seriously. It's phenomenal. He wore his Sunday go-to-meeting overalls to preside over the wedding. Anyway, UMP Dirt Modifieds at Eldora. Nick Hoffman took the win in the modified feature in his new Elite chassis. David Mielke was second. Jeff Babcock third, Matt Mevert fourth, and Brian Ruhlman rounded out your top five. In the A feature for the UMP Dirt late models, Jason Feger took the win over Wayne Chin. Brian Shirley was third. Andrew Riome was fourth. And Jeep Van Wormer rounded out your top five.
Yeah, the Black Widow, the Spider, Jeep Van Wormer out of Pinconning, Wisconsin. Yeah, him.
Yeah.
It's Pinconning, Michigan.
There you go. In the All-American 400 from the Nashville Fairgrounds, cut short to 220 laps. Although in reality, I never got an official final number, but I do believe the total number of laps run was over 360. I do believe, which would mean they had 140 caution laps. But anyway, Ross Kenseth was declared the winner as Mother Nature moved in after 220 laps. Bubba Pollard came home second, ironically in a yellow and black car. He had jegs on the car this weekend. I'd never seen Bubba in anything but a red car. He did say, I think it was on his Facebook account, that there is an announcement coming someday this week about something big in the future with him and jegs. I don't know if he's going ARCA racing or what, but I think he's got something brewing. DJ Shaw came home third. Johnny Clark was fourth. And Daniel Hemrick rounded out your top five. Hemrick's been on a roll. He was actually second to Kyle Busch when the whole rain fiasco started, and it looked like they were going to go back to green, so he dove in to top off and put tires on, trying to make a good strategy move, but it ended up backfiring on him. Next up, that's the same thing. I don't need that one. The Oktoberfest at La Crosse Speedway. Travis Sauter, yes, from that Sauter family, took the win. Same Travis Sauter that won at Milwaukee earlier this year in an ASA Midwest Tour race. Skylar Holzhausen was second. Dan Fredrickson was third. Griffin McGrath was fourth. And Jonathan Ellen was, or is that Elon? Elon rounded out your top five. And a J. McKay Big 8 Invitational at the same Oktoberfest. Jay Herbst was your winner. John Reynolds was second. Skylar Holzhausen was third. Zach Riddle fourth. And Jesse Bernhagen rounded out your top five. In the Late Model Challenge Quick Trip 10 feature, Rob Myers was your winner. Dan Jung was second. Matt Berger was third. Nick Clements fourth. Mike Byer rounded out your top five. In Vintage Cars, again, still at the Oktoberfest, Jerry Schneider was your winner. Bob Lee second. Jerry Aylesworth was third. Ken Hutchins fourth. John Gilbertson rounded out your top five. In the Bandits, it was Phil Maloof, Adam Hayden, Davey Pinnell, David Trow Jr., and Josh Klopatek that rounded out your top five. And finally, in the Enduros, Kyle Stark took the win. Justin Shelzicki, wow, that's brutal, was second.
Sounds like
Matthew Moore was third. Josh Klopatek double feature and ran fourth.
Kozlowski and the Klopatek.
And John Radke rounded out your top 5. Schiltzke, Schelitze.
The hell of a good race car driver.
That is a quality Wisconsin name right there. Back to Nashville for a minute. The pro race that had Willie Allen take out Mark Day coming across the line, smoking, sparking, and everything else. TJ Reed was, where am I? I'm on the wrong page. Crap. My bad. I pulled up the wrong, I was still in there. Here I am. Sterling Marlin came home third in that pro late model race. DJ Shaw was fourth, so he had a heck of a day. Came in third and fourth into 2 big races there. And Bowen rounded out your top 5.
All right.
In Lucas Oil Dirt late models, how about John Blankenship stepping up? Big win for the underdogs at Rome this past weekend. Bloomer was second. Chris Madden third. Stevie Francis, the Kentucky Colonel who was on last week, was fourth. And Don O'Neill rounded out your top 5 in Lucas Dirt at Rome. Then they ran over to Dixie. And Jimmy Owens, the O Show, took the win. Like how I'm dropping these nicknames for you, Wesley?
Hell,
Jonathan Davenport came home second. Blankenship having a good weekend. Came home third. Eric Wells was fourth. And Tony Knowles rounded out your top 5.
And here's the ghetto video of the wedding.
Honor and my privilege to announce that Mike Davidson and Tina Tuttle are going to be taking their wedding vows today at the track. They met at Talladega. That was their first date, rather, at Talladega Speedway. And so with this being Talladega weekend, they wanted to do their marriage vows here at the All-American
I was trying to find out.
And so she's coming down now. We want to go ahead and get started. You can see Miss Tina in her race suit there, and they're wearing their non-traditional attire today. But we'll go ahead and get started. Let me say that in the book of Genesis, it was God that brought the first man and the first woman together when he created Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. He said it was not good for man to dwell alone. And then Jesus, whenever he came to this earth to die for our sins, his first miracle was performed at a wedding ceremony when he turned the water into wine. And so God ordained and God intended for man, he said it's not good for man to dwell alone. And then this day when there's an attack on the home and on the marriage, I think it's wonderful that this couple is wanting to put their hands in the Lord's hand, put their heart in the Lord's hand, and commit themselves one to another. And so as Miss Tina's coming on, we're kind of in a hurry here, but she's making her way up to the stage. Come on, Tina. This is Tina Tuttle, everyone.
Come home to the finish, and Larry White rounded out your top 5. In the second twin, they call them twin 20s, and yet there's 3 of them. That's some bad marketing there. Anyway, Bobby Varon was your winner. Matt Shepard was second. Timmy Mack, Tim McCready was third. Stuart Friesian was fourth. Tim Fuller rounded out your top 5. And in the third of the twin 20s, Billy Dunn was your winner. Justin Hayers was second. Peter Britton third. Andy Bichetti was fourth. Ronnie Johnson rounded out your top 5. In the VP Small Engine Fuels 200 from Syracuse, Brett Hearn got the win in another rain-shortened event this weekend at 113 laps. Matt Shepard came home second. Jimmy Phelps was third. Justin Hayers was fourth. Pat Ward rounded out your top 5. Next up, we had... What was this one? Rocky Warner winning the Sportsman Championship at Syracuse. He came home in first. Mathieu Desjardins came home second. Cody McPherson was third. Chris Herbison was fourth. Jimmy Spellman rounded out your top 5. That one I can close. That doesn't do me any good. Hearn also scored the win and 385 modifieds at Rolling Wheels. He came home first. Where's my feature list? There it is. Danny Johnson was second. Lee Gill was third. Danny O'Brien fourth. And Timmy Mack, Tim McCready rounded out your top 5 into 358s at Rolling Wheels. I got way too many of these Super Dirt Week things open. Cayuga County Fair Speedway also had a 358 race on October 3rd. Timmy McCready took the win over Brett Hearn. Matt Shepard was third. Danny Johnson fourth. And Stuart Friesian rounded out your top five. In the Back Off Pro Stock Championship, also held during Super Dirt Weeks this weekend, October 7th, Pete Stefanski took the win. Joey Ladiseur came home second. Rocky Warner was third. Rock Alban was fourth. And Rob Yetman rounded out your top five. And at Belleville, Belle Claire Speedway, the Power Eye Midgets, Austin Brown took your win. Brett Anderson was second. Danny Stratton third. Daniel Adler was fourth. And Derek King rounded out your top five. For the 600cc micros, it was Joe B. Miller taking a win. Cale Thomas second. Jacob Patton third. Kurt Westerfield fourth. And Jason Harms rounded out your top five. And that's all the results I could piece together while we were having a show.
Awesome job. I'm ready to call Jack Root back up again. At least he filled in radio time. All these other nitwits, man. Let's try to call somebody else.
Hang on. Nick Hoffman is done. Give him a shout.
All right.
I had the number in the box down there, but I'm sure it's well up there since y'all were talking about the wedding thing. So let me see if I can find his contact info for you again real quick. And I will put it in the box.
Hey, by the way, the Winchester 400's this weekend.
It is. And I did not get a call about going, which is fine because I'm actually doing a working gig this weekend, Wesley. You'd be proud of me.
Where are you going to be working at?
I'll be working at Tri-County Speedway calling the UARA race.
Oh, my God.
Tony Stevens has a gig at Charlotte doing pre-race stuff for the Cup race. So he can't do his normal UARA gig, so he has asked me to fill in.
Give him a donut.
I'm telling you.
Who cares?
It's awesome.
Good for him. Good for you, though.
Listen to you.
Yeah.
You make me laugh.
He kisses everybody's ass to get to where he's at. He don't work hard like other people have.
Sometimes you gotta do what the man gotta do.
I don't kiss nobody's ass. That's how I feel about it. That's what's wrong with the country today. Too many snobs in the world. You work hard and you pay your dues. Then you move up to places and levels next on your own, like what I did.
Hello?
Nick Hoffman, and like this guy did. And that's all I'm going to say.
Busting butt for 2 weeks, then going up and kicking butt, taking names.
Grew up and say out of Mooresburg, Tennessee, like Ozzy Altman did at Charlotte a couple of years ago, whenever he introduced Dale Earnhardt Jr. Now, I rest my case. Nick Hoffman, welcome to the program, man. Built Elite Chassis, went to Big E Eldora over the weekend to Tony Stewart's famed place, the birthplace of, the Holy Grail that Earl built. And you put it in Victory Lane. First time out. Talk about it.
Yeah, I kind of can't complain about the whole weekend. The last 15 days we've been wide open trying to build this first race car, and we somehow got it done for the Big E, and that was kind of my plan to just debut it there. And my whole goal was just go out there and, try and make the show. 130 modifieds there, and go out there and put her on the stop, and they inverted 4 in the heat, started 4th, and got door slammed on the first lap, and fell back to 5th, and ended up winning the heat race, and started on the pole and won the feature. I just, it kind of everything fell into our hands, and I couldn't have won any better. We still can't believe it happened.
Definitely.
Now, by the time you got back to Mooresville yesterday, how many inquiries about Elite Chassis had you received between people at the track, and people on Facebook, and people on your phone?
I'd say quite a few. I mean, I had at least 10 different people just after the race. At the racetrack after qualifying. They'd come over just after qualifying and ask me about it and look at it. And we had at least 10 or 15 people just at the racetrack asking us about it, how they could get a hold of me and everything, and then. My phone was blowing up after the races and Facebook and all that. And I still got messages, all day today about them. And, so we're here at Allison Brothers Race Cars right now where we're actually building the cars and talking to them a little bit about, some pricing stuff, what we're going to charge for one of these things, and building some more of them.
Very cool. Now, the other question I have, and I asked Jeremy this yesterday, and he said no, but I thought I might be able to get a more straight answer out of you. Is your old man actually ever going to start building modified motors? Because it seems to me like you keep winning these big shows. He's almost got to do it just to make money.
Yeah, we're definitely working on a deal for that. We got the Elite chassis. We're going to work on the Elite engines aspect of it, kind of incorporate that. And, one thing that we'll be able to offer at Elite chassis that, really nobody else offers is, if somebody comes with the right amount of money, you can buy the car, complete turnkey, come pick it up, and you can run it that night, all set up and with the motor in it, wired up, and everything ready to go. So, it should be pretty cool.
Nick Hoffman, what made you decide to build your own chassis race car company, man? I mean, you're kind of a young fella.
Yeah, I'm only 20, and, we've been running the Freedom cars, and Monty Grice builds a hell of a race car, and I went down there and won it down at Volusia during Speed Weeks, and I've been having people ask me, how can we get what you're running and all that. Well, Monty's just, he's busy building cars at Ganassi, building cup cars and all kinds of stuff. So obviously you can't build a bunch of race cars, so I decided, I need to go out on a limb and do my own deal, and started this deal from scratch, kind of did all my own ideas, what, the Allisons thought that the cars needed, and we kind of started our own deal, and the past 30 days have been hectic, but, obviously it runs really good, and so we just, once we decided to do it, we didn't have much time, and I knew Eldora was the place to debut it, and obviously it worked out pretty good.
Oh, wow, that's funny. See, people in the sim world know who Tony Stevens is too, Mike Neff.
Dude, who cares? We're talking to Nick about going up and winning one of the biggest modified races of the year.
I just want the message. That's all I'm going to say.
So, Nick, what do you got left to do? You won at Volusia. You won at Eldora. What else is there? You going to go up and start running at Syracuse and win that thing too?
Hey, ain't it time, Nick Hoffman, to get in the fast track, get in the late model?
What's that?
I said, ain't it time for you to get in the fast track and get a late model?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I enjoy my modified stuff. I've always been more of a fan of the modified stuff than the late models, my whole life with my dad racing and my uncle racing and everything. But, I really like to jump in a late model and try it out and all that. I definitely wouldn't be racing any crate late model stuff unless it was given to me because we'd have to pay for motors. But, a super late model deal is definitely out of the question.
Yeah, definitely. Justin Rhodes now, the Hillbilly Motorsports. What have you got for Nick Hoffman? The Thrill. Hello, Justin.
Lose Justin? Is he eating another chicken sandwich?
No. I just keep forgetting where my dang microphone switch is. But
we have a thing in radio called dead air. We do not like it.
I know you keep getting me on it, but no, Nick, I know you through sim racing, through a lot of the dirt late model sim races and whatnot, them guys. You do a lot of the sim racing as well. How many laps around Eldora did you take on the computer before you actually went up there with your real car?
Oh, God, here we go.
I made a bunch of laps there during the World 100 and all that. It's I guess you could say it's pretty close to the real thing, but the first laps you make around Eldora and the real car is just unreal how fast you go and everything. You kind of you wouldn't understand unless you actually did it yourself, but that place is just unreal compared to anything else you ever race on. And but the sim side of everything, we make quite a few laps from every single version of Eldora they have out there. So I do a lot of sim racing myself, and I think it's a big training tool and helps out a lot, but nothing like compares to real thing.
Most definitely. I want to ask you one other question here as far as your possible future plans. Sticking with modifieds, do you have any plans to come up in the Midwest, like further out towards the Mississippi River, whatnot, and run any USMTS or USRA series, up in Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, them places?
Yeah, that's our ultimate goal. We definitely like to travel as much as we can. I'd like to do like Steve Arpin did for 2 or 3 years there, and travel kind of all over the country, just hitting the big shows. But all that deal is just about sponsorship, and if we can sell enough race cars and everything to keep our personal racing going, so we can travel as far as them guys did. It's so tough being out of North Carolina and Wisconsin being 18 hours away. You have to drive all the way up there and pay for fuel, then take the chance of not even making a show or something. But so we definitely like to come out that way. Obviously, we come to Illinois a lot, and Missouri and Ohio, but I want to venture out and go to all these other racetracks I've never been to.
You got anything, Mike?
Is Knoxville in the picture anytime soon, Nick?
If they switch off the IMCA rule book, we might go out there, but right now, we run quick changes and spoilers and all that, so we're not quite legal to run any IMCA stuff, but I enjoy running all my open motor and UMP stuff.
Absolutely, definitely.
Now, is County Line still doing another modified show this year?
Yeah, they still. What are they running?
Yeah, we got the Victory Gang Camp race coming up in November.
That was it.
I'm actually gonna take this first Elite chassis that we took to Eldora and take it straight to the Grit show down here in Charlotte. Exactly how it came off the racetrack with the dirt still on it and the crinkled quarter panels and everything. Just throw the trophy on top of her and show it off, and then the week after we're gonna race it at County Line. So
very nice.
Everything ready.
5,200 to win. How many modifieds do you think is going to be up there for that race, man?
Last year I think we ended up having around 30. I think this year they'll have a little bit bigger draw. It's just so hard. They do a really good job of promoting that place, Steve Summerlin and everybody over there, but it's just really hard to get people to travel, that far east to draw a bunch of attention, you know what I mean?
Now, I got a question, okay? And a couple of weeks ago we had on Kyle Strickler. And yep. I know that there's really no love lost between you two guys from the past. But you guys were kind of fairly young. You're a lot younger than Kyle is. But, what is your thoughts of Kyle Strickler?
Well, I mean, I definitely think he's got his stuff together. I mean, that's no doubt that you go out there and win at Knoxville and in Boone and all that. And, over the past year or so, we've gained a lot of respect for each other, and the stuff that happened in the past, we don't really care about anymore. He's done a really good job in the last year or two, and I think he thinks the same of me. So, when we race each other now, we give each other room, and we race really clean, and we race each other a lot now, whether it's up in West Virginia and Ohio or just a County Line, we race against each other a lot and really having any type of problems. And so, he's a shoe. He's got his stuff together, and I enjoy racing with him now that we don't run into each other all the time.
And not only that, folks, Nick Hoffman is a great race car driver in the modifieds, but he also flags races. Mike Neff, tell everybody about it.
Yeah, he's up there in the stand every other Wednesday night at Millbridge Speedway. We'll be out there again this week, which I'm disappointed that the late model show is at Charlotte on Wednesday night instead of Thursday, because I'm going to be up at Millbridge announcing while Nick's flagging instead of being at the dirt track at Charlotte. But you got to do what you got to do to keep building what you're building, and we're continuing to have great success up at Millbridge, and we keep having Nick flagging when he's not running around.
I got a question, Mike, and Nick too. Nick is
sure.
Ashley's your sister. What are Ashley and Jeremy thinking? Why are they running a race on Wednesday night against dirt track at Charlotte when it's 20 miles from their house or 20 miles from the speedway?
Yeah, I seen Jeremy today. I gave him crap. I said, how can you overlap the World of Outlaws show at Lowe's? He said they overlapped us. I said, I don't know about that. So,
yeah,
it should be a pretty good show. They got Kyle Larson coming out and Rico Abreu and all them guys. It's the Ironman race at Millbridge, so should be a pretty good show. But I probably would have rescheduled it.
Kyle Larson races at Millbridge?
Yeah, Kyle Larson has won at Millbridge this year, and he's raced out there twice, I think, so far this season. The first night he came out, got put in a fence on the first drop of the green. His front left spindle got bent to where his front tires were towed out about 30 degrees. I mean, it was huge. And he started at the back of the pack, and by lap 4, I think he was up to 3rd. And if I'm not mistaken, he either finished 3rd or 2nd. But he had figured out how to throw it in the corner and get the left front off the ground and could carry it about halfway down the straight without the left front ever touching the ground. And that was how he was getting around the track. It was phenomenal to watch.
Absolutely. Well, Nick, man, we got to wrap it up here. Our 2 hours have flew by as fast as it got started. Go ahead and throw out your sponsors on your car, man.
I gotta thank KBC Graphics first and foremost. We went up to Eldora and didn't have much time to get the thing together. He brought me a wrap and wrapped it in the cold rain at Eldora. So
Nice.
KBC Graphics, War Shocks, they helped me out a ton. Elite Race Cars, obviously, Allison Brothers, Mittler Brothers Machine and Tool, FK Rod-Ends, Bilstein Shock Absorbers, Bassett Wheels, Hoosier Tire, Dominator Racing Products, Oakley, RCI, Franklin Rear Ends, Weir's Machine, Fast Shafts, PME Engines, everybody, all my product sponsors. There's so many of them on my car. I can't thank everybody enough. But
Definitely. We got to go, Nick. We got to go, man. Our time's running out.
All right, thank you.
We'll see you, man.
Thanks for being on, brother. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, not trying to be mean. When we're on a schedule, we got to get off. And I'm glad he threw out his sponsors. But Nick the Thrill Hoffman.
He's got a lot of them.
He's got a lot of them, exactly. Nick the Thrill Hoffman, the winner at Eldora Speedway for the UMP Dirt Car Nationals program. Mike, you're going to be announcing UARA at Tri-County.
Be at UARA, be at Charlotte, be at Millbridge. I got a loaded week.
Yeah, awesome. Justin, where are you going to?
I'm going to try to hit Winchester if the money falls right.
Really? For the 400? Well, I might be going to Heston, Pennsylvania for the Ultimate. I'm looking forward to I got to talk to the promoter about that deal. We're kind of willing and dealing right now. But if I'm not, I will be in North Carolina announcing at Ace Speedway with Tyler Williams with the first ever Mika Shell Memorial. And it will be Mika Cell Memorial, excuse me. It'll be the Dirt Crate late models on asphalt and the asphalt late models running for 174 laps. So he is Justin Rhodes now. We call him the Racing Hillbilly. The Racing Devil, Mike Neff. And I am Wesley Outland, the Ringmaster of Motorsports. Good night. God bless. Don't forget RSR Full Throttle Cup Series at Talladega with me and Michael Keaton at 9:30. Good night. We'll see you later. Thanks for tuning in. And the winner is. We'll see you next Monday.
This time by, what's the latest on pit road?
On pit road, both the 1 and 2, they're going all the way. They don't have to stop again. You're watching the battle all the way to the end.
Awesome news, Wes.
Oh, there you go. The word just came in. These guys, they said, boys, have at it. Oh, Chad Cole getting sideways in the back. He's stuck with lap cars in front of him. But meanwhile, Landon Huffman in the RTC Racing Design Chevrolet under attack from R.J. Williams in the ETV Live Chevrolet. These two drivers duke it out. 6 to go. They're in turn 1.
Landon Huffman still hanging on to the lead. 4 cars ahead, laps down. Traffic may be a factor here in the closing laps. This time by, 6 to go, Wes. Things are starting to heat up with the 21 machine as it gives him a bump in 4.
This time by, they'll come to 6 to go. As again, your leader, Huffman, Williams, they continue to battle. Doug Roth, the lap machine, in the retro colors of Richard Petty, is in front of them. He'll pull out of the way to the outside lane. Boys, have at it. I love the respect these lap cars are giving him. Williams to the inside for the lead in turn 4. It's magical here at the Monster Mile.
He looked, but there wasn't just quite enough pavement to get the car on to West as they come down the front stretch, nearly a half a car length in separation into 1. Landon Huffman still race leader in 2. 21 machine of R.J. Williams down the backstretch.
An open hand shot from the flagman just a moment ago as well. 5 laps to go, 5 remaining. Lynn Steele. I really believe Williams is going to have to rough up Huffman, the bump and run, to try to get this victory. He passed Cole Fairley, but did he use up the Goodyear rubber? Now he's going to go to the outside lane to try to make a move on Huffman for the lead in turn 2 with 4 to go.
The magical number 4 underneath coming out of 2. Williams may have the spot. 75's up high in 3.
Not backing down there. Door to door in turn 3. Door to door in turn 4. He'll get the jump. Williams goes to the lead with 3 to go. they go into turn one. Can he pull the upset as they come to the line?
Huffman tried everything, but the crossover did not work. The 21 machine in the lead in 2. Coming down the backstretch, T and West in 375, separated by 4 car lengths.
The jinx might have been put on Huffman. He might have counted his chickens before they hatched. He vowed he'd win at Dover. R.J. Williams spoiling the plans, and he's even opening up the interval. Less than 2 laps to go. The leader's half a second over Huffman in 1.
R.J. Williams doing the unthinkable here tonight. So far, leading the race now with just a couple laps here to go, Wes. This time by the white flag.
1 more lap to go. R.J. Williams in the ETV Live radio number 21 made the bump and run. It was caution free, but what a way to set it for the end. Even better than the real deal yesterday. They'll come down the back straightaway into turn number 3. No fuel strategy, no late race caution, good racing, mano a mano. To the victor goes the spoils. It's still going to be Huffman leading the points, but Williams pulls the upset. He'll win at Dover. Williams goes 1. Huffman loses and finishes in 2nd. Finally, somebody pulls an upset on the 75.
What a trigger to be pulled here at Dover tonight. Wow, Wes, with just moments and laps to go, R.J. Williams does the unthinkable. Green flag all the way through, completely 160 laps. Man, awesome race by the number 21 machine and the 75 car of Landon Huffman.
Williams goes 1, Landon Huffman 2, Chad Cole 3, Guy Snyder the 4th, and John Abbott the top 5. The bottom 5 of 10, Michael Keaton.
RC rigging in that lime green Chevrolet picking up 6th place tonight's event. Steve Ritter 7th. Adam Roberts picking up a good satisfied 8th. John Hanna Jr., who started on the pole in tonight's events, started and finished 9th. White Wolf Jr. finishing your top 10.
And R.J. Williams is lighting them up on the front straightaway. He's going crazy. He's doing the burnouts, the donuts. He's excited. He wins at Dover in a non-caution fiesta that turned out to be a soiree over Landon Huffman. We'll have the post-race show right after this. From Dover International Speedway, you're tuned in to the ETV Live Online Auto Sports Entertainment Network as R.J. Williams in the ETV Live Radio Chevrolet